Hey guys, today we have a special guest with us, the owner and a manufacturing of a awesome turf company. So stay tuned, and we will. All right, guys, welcome back. So today I want to bring on Wes Miller. Hey, Wes, how's it going?
Good. How you doing, Nick?
Good, good. Hey, thanks for being on the show today. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, what company, and all that good stuff.
So the company is called Tailormade Grass. We've been around for about 3 years now, and it kind of came together with my two business partners who are engineers from Auburn who developed a technology that allows for us to make a 100% recyclable turf product. So that's kind of what got us doing what we're doing. I've spent 20 years working with other turf companies, other manufacturers, and this company is separated by that technology.
That's awesome. So. Have you always wanted to be in the turf industry?
It just kind of happens, I originally was selling raw materials into the synthetic turf industry, and it was yarns and backings and that sort of thing, and then it just evolved into me working for those companies, and then here I am today with Tailormade Grass.
Awesome. So how many? I guess you're doing sports fields in Tailormade Grass, right?
We're doing everything. We're doing everything from lawns and landscape and golf to sports fields, and we're about to start on an indoor sports line as well.
Oh wow, that's awesome. So tell us a little bit about your product, because it's really unique, and I want you to share it with other people.
Sure. So it is 100% polyolefin backing. So traditionally, you'll see urethane backing has been the common binding agent for turf for as long as I can remember. And the urethane acts just to hold the tufts or the yarn in place. So the issue with urethane is it's a thermoset, and once it's been set, it's done, and you can't really recycle it. So the way they've tried to recycle turf in the past is to shave the yarn off the top and dispose of the backing, and then try to recycle the yarn. But that's not cost effective. Nobody's doing that, and obviously there's a lot of waste still. So my partners really discovered this technology, and we are able to make a 100% polyolefin turf product that the entire product can be recycled. The product that you're showing there. So it is that whole thing, which we have actually done it. We've sent it to a recycler, had it repelletized, and it was able to be put into another plastic product. So it's a really cool technology, because a lot of folks, both companies that I've worked for prior, had spent a lot of time and money trying to chase the recyclability thing, because everybody knows, the future of this is it's got to be able to be recycled, particularly in the sports side, because you got thousands and thousands of sports fields that are 100,000 square feet plus that are going into landfills at some point. In a lot of cases, people are reusing them once. They're going to a paintball facility, or they're getting used in batting cage stuff as used turf. But at the end of its life, it's got to go somewhere, right? And so, as it stands, it's been going in landfills, and so that's what everybody wants to change. But it's been a challenge to get there. That's cost effective anyway. I mean, we were able to figure this out, and we're able to do a tufted product still. There's a couple other manufacturers out there that make a recyclable product, but it's either woven or it's knitted, and it's far less efficient to produce. It's far more expensive in cost, and obviously if you're going to go resell it, it's more expensive. So it's just not, people are still choosing the urethane option based on price. So we've developed this product line, and it is competitive with the urethane option. So there's really no reason for somebody not to choose recyclable now.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's crazy, because this is exactly where it's going. It has to be recyclable. In the textile industry, PFAS and stuff like that is,
Oh, yeah.
it's, everything's against it, right? Like, you can't, they're trying to outlaw that. So, and that's something that and that's where I've joined up with VibraShield. And now I'm spraying turf with this stuff that's an antimicrobial that has no PFAS. So, yeah, so I think it's an awesome, I think your turf's awesome. I'm getting ready to install about 9,000 square feet, 6 to 9,000 square feet in Lubbock, Texas.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that. We're actually doing this turf here, the PET 55.
Yep.
So and we're really looking forward to it.
The cool thing about all of our products is they all drain at an incredible drainage rate too. So you talk about recyclability, and people care about recyclability, but even more important is how does it perform, right? And performance wise, we feel like we're as good or better than any other turf out there as well. I mean, our tough binds, our dimensional stability, our drainage rates. I mean, we're as good or better than anyone else. Drainage, particularly, I mean, drainage rates on most urethane hole punch turfs is going to be 30 inches an hour or so, and we're over 1,000. I mean, we've got some test reports back on some of these products that's like 1,600 inches an hour. So it's you don't have to worry about drainage. You obviously your base and all those other sort of things are going to come into play. So you got to be able to evacuate water. But with commercial pet applications and these situations where it rains a lot, it's a challenge right now for people to use turf with hole punch in it. Because, those holes get blocked by the infill that you're using. The water has to find its way to wherever these drainage locations are. And with our turf, it drains everywhere, and it drains very fast.
Yeah, I was whenever Brad had given me the samples, I took them, and so I went home that afternoon. I put them on, and I was like, "Wow, this is amazing."
Yeah,
I mean, it literally is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things with our sales pitch. It's like, okay, go put it under, take the turf you're using now, put it under the faucet, take our turf, put it under the faucet. You'll be blown away, and that's been a big deal for a lot of folks. I mean, obviously there's areas where they don't think it rains a whole lot, but recyclability comes into play in a lot of those areas too. So, you're not giving up anything. That's the beauty of this system that we've created with this new backing is. There is no compromise. It's not like, oh, well, if I'm going to be recyclable, well, then I got to give up, drainage, or if it's got to, there is no, you're giving up nothing. This is literally it's a better product.
Right. And I got to say, it's so light.
Oh yeah. I forgot to mention that. It's also 20% lighter than a urethane product.
It's crazy. I mean, it's awesome. And, one thing that I stress about, with like putting greens. So my putting green material, it's hole punched, where there's others that, other manufacturers say, no, we don't do it because it disturbs the base, yada, whatever. I do it because heat is a gas. And what does gas do? It rises. So now you've taken that out of this. So now there's going to be less wrinkles, if not any, because the heat's escaping. Now there's no way for it to rise and bubble. So it's just, it's amazing turf. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. It, like you said, the price point's there.
Sure. Yeah, we're as competitive as anybody. And back to that point about wrinkles, like this product it's pretty much a dead fabric. The process, it's seen heat, it's seen some things that are going to allow for it to lay flat. It's not going to expand. Urethane typically is going to, when it gets hot, it's going to come in some, and when it cools down, it's going to grow some. So you can have some wrinkle in there, which is, part of what makes a lot of the other products not recyclable too, because there's some hot melt stuff out there that people have tried to do but it doesn't have dimensional stability. So they have to put polyester in that fabric to try to keep it from wrinkling and moving. Well, the polyester is not recyclable either. So between polyester and urethane, like the two things that are having to be used to help, finish the turf, it's not working, without it.
So there's going to be, I have not just turf people that watch this channel. I actually have, consumers and stuff like that. So, as well as I know, a consumer is going to say, well, when my pet urinates on this, is it going to smell because of the backing? Can you tell them a little bit about that?
So the backing itself is polypropylene, and it does not absorb. It's hydrophobic. So, the only moisture that's ever going to cling to that is just from static tension. So in a commercial application, we tell people they need to flush it regardless, because, I don't care what you have, urine, can have static tension and hang on, but it's going to flow right through there. There's not anything there to absorb. So, there's no issue with urine. We've done tests where we've had dogs do their thing on it for weeks at a time to try to see if it's going to smell or if it's going to, and, the challenge with that conversation is also all dogs' urine's different and their diets are different. So some people are like, oh man, it's such a strong smell. And it's like, okay, well that's not actually in the turf. That's made it through. So flushing is important. If people aren't flushing and thinking about where the water's going or the urine or anything else, I mean, that's important parts to the systems is always, we're having that conversation probably more than I ever have because our turf drains so good. So, when you think about, oh, it drains great. Okay, well, where's it draining to? So now we're having more conversations about the base. We're a turf manufacturer, but we're having to have conversations about, okay, where's your base evacuating this water to? And how are you dealing with that? And, where's the urine going to go and all those sort of things.
Exactly. That's the thing that people don't understand, that turf does still, you need maintenance.
Sure.
It's not just we lay it down and see you later.
Yeah.
You do need the occasional hosing down. You do need all of that. I mean,
you got to blow the leaves off. People talk about, oh, well, I tell people turf is a lot like carpet. It's likely going to ugly out before it wears out. You don't replace your carpet because it doesn't work anymore. You replace your carpet because it's ugly because you hadn't kept it clean enough.
That's right.
The same thing with turf. If you're not blowing the leaves off and they're breaking down and they're breaking down into your infill and everything else, it's going to look nasty at some point. And you can start to have organic things grow in the top of the turf. People are like, oh, well, what about weeds? And I'm like, well, that's another benefit to ours. It basically has a built-in weed barrier on the back because there's no holes. It drains everywhere, but there's nowhere, you can have weeds grow up through the holes of a urethane hole punch product. In our case, the only way something's going to grow is in the top. And if if you've got too much organic material in the top because you hadn't been blowing the leaves off or whatever, well, weed could still grow.
That's right.
That's going to grow in the surface of it. So it definitely requires maintenance. People always are like, oh, I was told I don't have to do anything with this. Well, it depends on where you live, I guess. If there's no trees around and there's no one putting debris on it ever, then maybe you don't have to do much. But if you're using it at all, you're probably going to require a little bit of maintenance.
That's right. Exactly. So what do you see in the future of y'all got anything in the pipeline that's going to be cool? Or
so we're obviously we're working on an indoor sports line. So we're working on developing that. We are going more and more after the sports field market. We think we will have done. I think we will be around 10 million feet in the ground after this year of all the landscaping golf stuff. We've done 3 or 4 sports fields at this point. So we're just barely breaking into that, but we see a lot of opportunity there with the recyclability story and just, with this technology it being a big deal for the sports side. So we're going to push that, but we're going to continue to try to innovate. So we've had conversations about, okay, what can we do different with indoor sports products and how can we try to give the same performance features and try to get it recyclable, because right now it's got a 5 millimeter polyurethane foam on it. Right. Well, that polyurethane foam is not recyclable. So, we're having conversations about how to solve these things, and we'll see where it goes. I mean, at this point, we don't have anything. We still test and trial stuff. Every month we're still trying to see what we can get away with and see what we can do and how we can improve things. And some of the things haven't worked. I mean, before we went and started selling this product 3 years ago, there was probably a year and a half's worth of try and fail. And it was like, give up, keep going, until we finally got something that's like, okay, we've tested this. Let's go put this somewhere. And that's, and so the very first place we put it was in a church playground, just to see how much it could get abused and see what would happen with it and how would it hold up. And it's still there today. And that was put in probably a little over 3 years ago, the very first piece of turf we ever had put in the ground with the recyclable backing. So a lot of improvement since then on, I guess, the ability to cut it. The original version didn't have that white felt on the back. So we've helped the product be a little bit stronger than it was. I mean, but like I said, that product we put in 3.5 years ago is still there and it's doing great. But, there's little things, it's like, the putting the white felt on the back was one. We've been working on a version that won't drain. We have a couple of folks that have asked for a version where they like putting green, for instance. Some people don't want putting green to drain at all. Mm-hmm. So when they order a putting green product, it has urethane, no holes. And so we're working on a fully recyclable version that won't drain for folks that are in situations where that's going to matter, which sports will be one of those, or the indoor sports, not the outdoor sports.
Yep.
Indoor sports doesn't want drainage. They want a smooth surface, which we have a smooth surface. So technically they could glue the one down we have now if they're going to glue it down over concrete. But if they're going to put it over aggregate and they don't want it to drain, then we're developing that as well.
Wow, that's awesome. And one thing that, an installer, the first thing I was thinking, well, how do I know where to cut this thing at? Yeah. The old foam backing, you got to take a stitch row and find the stitch row.
Yep.
And Brad had just wet a little corner of this, and all of a sudden, all these rows start showing up.
Yeah.
And so it's still really user friendly.
Yeah, that was the first. That was the first hurdle for anybody that had not tried it before. Was they're like, oh, I'm used to seeing the stitch rows really clearly. Which the very first version we did, you could see the stitch rows on. But we were concerned about people dragging it across aggregate and bases, and what is that going to do to the back stitch, which concerns me with urethane too. If you're making your cuts and you're dragging it across a asphalt parking lot to get it to where you're going to install it, like what are you doing to that back stitch? Have you somehow degraded that and your tough bind's gone, or you're losing yarn out of the back of the turf while you're dragging it across. So that was part of the idea when we put that white on the back. The white polypropylene was to protect that back stitch. So it can be, but then the next challenge was, oh, well, where's the stitches? And it's like, well, this is simple. You can wet it or you can chalk it. But once it's been rolled up, what we found is once people have installed it once or twice, you can feel and see it. It becomes a lot more obvious to you once you've used the product. It's pretty much the first time you look at it and you go, well, this isn't as easy to see. But once you've installed it once or twice, you're like, man, I can feel it. Once you get the blade between it, it just flies through it. It's much easier to cut than urethane. It's much more pliable if you're trying to do curves and shapes with the turf. Like you can roll this stuff back and make the cuts. It's not near as hard on you to try to trim in.
Yeah, it's actually easier for installation point. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, we found that everyone that's made it through 2 installs is like, don't send me urethane again. We're like, we don't have urethane. We don't want to sell anything with urethane, so that's great.
Well, so I can't say any names on this show, but there's a company that they've made a lot of money doing sports installs. And I don't know if Brad told you that when he was out here, he got to see one fail, a sports field fail.
No, I didn't know that.
But there was here in Salina, there was a sports field that failed, and this company, you'll know who it is after I tell you the company's procedure. They have little fingers that go down there.
Yeah.
And so it still drains.
Sure.
Well, the fiber shed was so intense. I mean, it's 4 years old, and the fiber loss, because it's just because everybody wants this. Everybody wants this.
Yeah.
And you guys have it.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's just, it's truly is a game changer. And it's, I've got 3 bids right now with this sports turf for a couple fields in Texas and 1 in Florida. So I'm hoping to get those done. I see the value in it. It's the recyclable. It's not going to go away. It's only going to get pushed.
Look, Europe already passed the law saying that no floor coverings could go into the landfill after 2030, and that includes turf. So it won't be long until that's the same here in the U.S. And really, I think that the holdup has been that there's not enough options that are recyclable. They're going to go put a ban in place, and there isn't a recyclable one yet. Well, they can't do that. So with this technology coming along, and as we grow and get it out in the marketplace more, it'll be a lot easier to go to politicians and say, hey, this doesn't have to be in the landfill anymore. Which I don't know that it even has to be government done. I think at some point the landfills are going to charge so much for you to put a field in it.
Yeah,
it's going to be a cost thing as well.
I agree.
Yeah,
the cost is going to be horrendous.
Yeah. So we're really excited about this opportunity. We think we've got it licked pretty good. So we're looking
That's
forward to the
awesome.
future.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to working with you guys. And so what's the best way for someone to get a hold of you? I got a tailormadegrass.com on the bottom here going. Is that
Yep.
the best way for them to find you? And
It is.
Okay.
And then when our contact number, I mean, I can give you that too. Let's see, where's the company contact number? Well, obviously the Tailormade Grass website, orders at tailormadegrass.com.
Okay.
And then let me see. Well, I don't think I have the office number in front of me.
Well, that's fine.
But yeah, I mean, the best way is the website or just email us in, and then, we'll see it and we can go from there.
And you've got Brad going all over the country. So
yeah. And we're going to continue to, we're trying to grow. So we're going to continue to add folks to try to help that growth and find
absolutely.
folks like you that want to promote and sell the product. So, our biggest challenge, I guess, right now is just getting the word out, because people just don't, we're a 3-year-old company. It's new technology. So it's really just education at this point. It's like, hey, this exists. Here's what it is. And, everyone that we've shown it to and explained everything about it has been excited about it too. So it's really just awesome. Trying to get the word out.
So the biggest negative for y'all is just education. Just education.
Yeah. Well, the biggest negative is how much miseducation. Because, you see all this, you see all these companies making claims that they have recyclable products that are not recyclable.
Yeah.
So, I don't hang my hat on the fact that we're recyclable. I talk about the fact that, we have the superior drainage and all the other features about the product, dimensional stability and tough bind and all these other things about performance besides just recyclability, because people are trying to make the claim. But, does it have urethane on the back? Well, yeah. Well, then it's not recyclable. Does it have polyester? Does it have polyester in it? Well, yeah. Well, then it's not recyclable. But, the average consumer doesn't know to ask those questions. And, there's folks out there that are making claims. I mean, I saw a company in Canada recently online, and it was like they're touting all this recyclable turf, and I'm looking at the turf and I'm like, I'm not going to call them and tell them, but they're literally talking about the urethane they're using, and they're like, oh, well, it's got some soy-based stuff, and it's got some. Okay, well, they've tried to make urethane greener, right, but it's still urethane, and it's still not recyclable. So
at the end of the day,
that's the challenge really right now is people don't know who to trust. And, there's a lot of people telling whatever they got to tell to get their message out.
That's one of the reasons I wrote the book, Installing and Understanding Artificial Turf, was because of the misinformed education that these people are getting. And, and what's horrible is, behind me, you see where you can, get on my turf Biz Academy and learning everything about artificial turf. Well, I teach that even to my competition, because I want them to know, because here's the thing. If they go into Sally Joe's backyard and it looks like crap, they're going to say, man, I'm glad I didn't get artificial turf. That's horrible.
Yeah.
Or they can say, oh, wow, Sally Joe's yard looks awesome. We need to get some bids. Yeah. And now that's why I want everybody to do a good install.
Sure.
I want everybody to use the best products, the best practices, because it only helps the whole artificial turf industry.
100%. It's better for all of us. I mean, I've been having the same conversation with folks. It's like, let's do this the right way, and let's everybody be on the same page, so that the consumer isn't the one that's feeling like they got a bad deal on it and burns the whole industry because somebody's told them that it's zero maintenance forever and you get a 25-year warranty and whatever stories people want to come up with. And it's like, look, this isn't true. And at some point that's going to come back. And they're going to feel like the industry has wronged them and not, the one guy that was trying to sell them a job,
Yeah, exactly. Like the best one for installer point of view is lifetime warranty. And I tell people, they say, well, this other company's got a lifetime warranty. I said, have you ever seen Tommy Boy? It's only as good as the name on the box.
Yeah.
And so I tell them, I said, I have thousands of customers. I'll give you the whole list. You pick anyone and call them. Heck, you call 5 of them. I don't care. They're all going to say, yeah, Nick with Luxe Blades did an awesome job. So that's kind of how I kind of, just like y'all's turf. Are you going to ever have drainage issues? No. Stability issues? No. I mean, you can stand behind the product.
Sure.
And that's the thing.
Yep.
So, but Wes, I just want to say thank you for being on the show.
Appreciate
I
it.
really appreciate it. Yeah. And I'm going to exit the show, and then if you could just stay on.
Okay.
So, all right. Thanks, Wes. I appreciate it.